Verbal decision on immediate seizure. What kind of a country has this? Limitations on social intercourse. Parents insisting on too much contact with their child stop them from seeing him. Who can be prevented from seeing the child? Thought you'd have free access to communicate with your child in care. They can hide your children from you. Parents thinking of taking their children abroad hide their children. Thought you could have your child back when the care was over. Thought your voluntary care was voluntary. Thought there was a limit to how long the government could keep your children. You sure wonder what the point is with a time limit if it can be extended endlessly. Who will save your child from your horrible parenting? Police officers in uniform. Thought you'd be spared police brutality just because you hadn't committed a crime? All that's between your custody of your children and the police putting them in foster care is a single phone call. Thought you could hide your children in other Nordic countries? Preventive measures, medium force. Even if we can't seize your children just yet, doesn't mean we can't intervene without your consent. In 2008, the newspaper Smålandsposten interviewed 68 people who had been seized according to LVU recently. These are excerpts of what they had to say. I got to read what they had written about me and my case. I didn't feel it was in line with what had been said, but they didn't want to change it. But I don't think LVU helped me. It was only when they removed it from me that I could start focusing on feeling better. The whole S about LVU was insulting. I ran away several times and tried to explain that it wasn't that great at the home where I was placed. Everyone else decided everything, how I felt, what I wanted to do, and so on. I didn't get anything through. I was with a family at first, but then the ones in charge decided I was going to be at an institution instead. I ran away from there back to the family. I wanted to stay there, the family wanted me to stay there, but the ones who decided didn't feel it was any good. I didn't know anything about why I had to live in this institution. When I asked, they said stuff like that I was so messy and didn't go to school. But surely you had to do something more than that. I lost my faith in adults when I was seized according to LVU. It was so much about prestige on their part, who had done what and so on, so they forgot about me in the whole thing. What peed me off was that they just appeared one day and said I was going. We had a meeting at the social services, but I never understood why they wanted to put me in an institution. I wanted an explanation why, but I never got one. Violated. That's what I think about when I remember that period. You felt so effing violated. Yet one's self-esteem has taken a bit of a beating from the LVU period. So that's my advice for the ones who work with LVU youth. Think about how you treat them. You affect them for the rest of their lives. What I remember from my time at an LVU institution was that the staff didn't show any effing respect at all. You could be sad and they didn't give an S. To this day, I still don't understand why I was seized. But still I think it's bad that I couldn't get an answer to why I was seized. When there was a decision made that I was going to move, I didn't understand anything. I hadn't been allowed to have a say in anything at all. Once we were at a meeting. Then I think Mom was at the social services some other time. Just sick. I remember one time when I sat at the social services crying. I couldn't stop crying. Then my officer told me that if I was just going to cry all the time, she might as well go drink some coffee. That felt effing insulting. Even though Sweden never evolved into a republic and the form of government has never reached anything resembling a rule by consent of the people, there have been people who have fought for the rights of the citizens versus the state. The Nordic Committee for Human Rights is one such organization. It was founded in 1996 by Jamaican-born Ruby Harold Claesson, a lawyer who then for a few years had been assisting families in Sweden having their children released from the foster care system. By her own admission, she's been able to release roughly 30 children from state care, though eventually the state would punish her for this unintended use of the justice system. Though it might sound like something odd to say, in some ways the Swedish legal system is only a facade. It was never intended to give a citizen the ability to stand up to the state, and people who want to keep practicing law have learned not to challenge authority. Ruby did challenge the system, however, fighting for the rights of parents to keep their children. In 1996, she started to get a cold shoulder from the justice system. Fees wouldn't get paid out, and courts would object to letting her serve as attorney in foster care cases. Soon she found herself effectively disbarred from the Swedish Bar Association and not able to offer legal services anymore. Since then, she still fought in other ways for family rights, including by, together with other members of NCHR, gathering an archive of articles related to the topic. The NCHR also has a forum where people can look for help in getting their children back from state care.